we all recognize oceans and continents when we see them, right?
Yeah.
Like there are those massive, features you can spot from space even. But how much do we really get about like these incredible forces that shaped our planet?
Right.
And our lives even.
Yeah.
That's what we're diving deep into today. And this all kind of started with this educational text I was looking at. And let me tell you,
Okay.
it wasn't your typical dry textbook.
Uh-huh.
It hooked me from the first page with this Jules Verne quote
Oh, wow.
about the mystery of the ocean.
Okay.
It really made me feel like I was setting sail in a grand adventure.
He certainly knew how to capture the imagination.
He did.
And you're right, this isn't just about memorizing names on a map.
Right.
It's about appreciating the sheer scale and
Yeah.
impact of these natural wonders.
Huh.
Their formation and how they've influenced everything from ancient civilizations to the air we breathe.
And get this, right off the bat,
Okay.
the chapter throws a curveball.
Okay.
It says there are actually different ways to count continents.
Huh. Yeah.
How can there be debate about something so fundamental?
It's one of those things you take for granted, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just think of continents as these fixed entities.
Totally.
But it turns out the way we define them depends on whether we're looking at it from a geological perspective,
Okay.
Massive continuous land masses,
Yeah.
or through like a historical and cultural lens.
Okay.
Geologically speaking, you might end up with 4 or 5 continents.
Really?
But historically and culturally, we often divide the world into the familiar 7 continents.
7 continents, which makes me think of the Olympics.
Sure.
And those iconic rings.
Exactly, you got it. The 5 Olympic rings actually symbolize the 5 inhabited continents as recognized by the International Olympic Committee. Africa, America, combining North and South America for this purpose.
Okay.
Asia, Europe, and Oceania, which includes Australia.
Yeah.
It really makes you realize how much history and culture play into our understanding of the world,
Yeah.
even when it comes to something as seemingly straightforward as geography.
Yeah.
And speaking of perspective,
Okay.
the chapter talks about Greenland
Oh.
and how it's actually gigantic.
Really?
We always see it shrunk down on maps.
We do, yeah.
But if you took the 10 largest states in India and combined them,
Wow.
that's the size of Greenland.
That's wild.
It's incredible how much scale can be deceiving,
It is.
especially when we're relying on those flat maps.
Right.
It's like trying to understand the vastness of the ocean by looking at a drop of water.
Yeah.
And that's something to keep in mind as we go further on this deep dive.
Okay.
When you glance at a globe, you're only scratching the surface, literally.
Wow.
Those seemingly simple shapes hold layers upon layers of geological history, cultural diversity, and natural wonders.
Yeah. Speaking of oceans,
Okay.
this chapter had this really cool line about them being the planet's lungs.
Okay.
What do you think about that analogy?
Yeah.
Not how I usually picture the ocean, but
Yeah.
pretty powerful image, don't you think?
It is. Yeah, it really drives home how crucial oceans are
Totally.
to life on Earth, even though we
Okay.
land dwellers often take them for granted.
Yeah, for sure. So
Right.
help me get this whole lungs of the planet thing.
Sure.
How does that even work?
Well, just think about it.
Good.
Our lungs take in oxygen
Yeah.
and release carbon dioxide.
Right.
Right. Oceans do a similar thing
Oh, yeah.
on like a global scale. They take in a lot of the carbon dioxide
Right.
we release into the atmosphere, acting like this massive carbon sink.
Okay.
But even more importantly than that,
Yeah.
they're the main source
Oh, wow.
of the oxygen we breathe,
Really?
and like over half of it.
That's wild.
It's mind-blowing when you stop and think about it. No oceans, no oxygen, no us,
Really puts things into perspective.
right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
And their impact goes way beyond just breathing, though, right?
absolutely.
The chapter talks about how they, regulate the planet's whole climate.
Yeah, they're like a giant heat sink, absorbing and distributing heat all around the globe.
Okay.
This helps keep temperatures from going crazy,
Right.
and creates the weather patterns we see.
So, those monsoon rains the chapter talked about,
Exactly.
that's all because of the ocean.
Those come from the interplay between ocean currents and atmospheric pressure.
Wow. So it's all connected.
It is.
Everything comes back to the
In
oceans.
some way, yeah.
The chapter also mentions a more destructive side of the ocean, though.
Yeah.
Tsunamis.
Right.
Like that 2004 tsunami in the Indian Ocean was just devastating.
It really was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Underscored the immense power of the ocean.
Yeah.
But it also, I think, shows how important it is to be ready for these things.
Right.
And how much we need to cooperate internationally. That tragedy led to the creation of the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System.
Oh, wow.
Countries can share data in real time now
Right.
to spot and predict possible tsunamis.
So that gives those coastal communities time to evacuate.
It's amazing what we can do when we work together.
Yes.
Especially when we're facing these global challenges.
For sure. But shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
I thought it was really interesting how the chapter talks about how continents aren't just static.
Right.
They've shaped human history.
They're the stage.
Wow.
The human story has unfolded on for millennia.
And we can't forget about the oceans in that story.
Of course not. They've been both bridges and barriers.
Right.
Right. Think about it. Early migrations.
Yeah.
The age of exploration, the trade routes that connected entire empires, it was all driven by our relationship with the sea.
It really makes you think about how connected we all are
Yeah,
across these vast oceans and continents.
we are.
And sometimes those journeys lead to unexpected discoveries.
For sure.
Like the chapter mentions that India has over 1,300 islands.
Really?
1,300, who knew? It's like finding out your backyard is secretly an archipelago.
Talk about hidden gems.
I know, right?
And there are probably countless others waiting to be discovered, even in the places we think we know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It really goes to show you there's always more to find out.
Yeah.
Even in those places, everyone thinks they know.
Absolutely.
And that kind of gets at, I think, like the biggest takeaway
Okay.
from all this. Oceans and continents.
Yeah.
It's not like they're these separate things. They're all connected.
Yeah.
Part of this whole system, you know?
It's a system that's been evolving for billions of years.
Wow.
And we're still trying to figure it all out.
Really makes you think.
It does. Every new discovery leads to more questions,
Yeah.
more things to explore.
That's what makes it so interesting.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
as we're wrapping up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's something you hope our listener will kind of ponder next time they're looking at a map or planning a trip, maybe?
I'd say think about what part of this whole interconnectedness
Okay.
really speaks to you.
Yeah.
Is it how ocean currents affect weather around the world? A
Yeah.
history of all those ancient trade routes that connected everything?
Right.
Or maybe the incredible diversity you find on just one continent? Whatever really makes you curious,
Yeah.
dive in and learn more.
I like it.
You never know what you'll find.
That's great advice. So, to our listener,
Yeah.
next time you look at a map,
Mm-hmm.
don't just see the shapes right. See the stories.
Yeah.
See the connections.
It's all connecting.
You might even find yourself
Yeah.
looking at like a glass of water differently.
Right.
It's all part of this,
This incredible planet.
yeah, this amazing
Interconnected.
planet we call home.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Like, comment, and subscribe.